Hi. I got Colton with me.
Hello.
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 Try hip hop today and see if we just end up with boom, boom, boom. Or no. I mean, hopefully.
How's it going?
You never know. So yesterday was Star Trek: The Next Generation's 35th anniversary.
Was it?
Yeah. I forgot to post. Godzilla. Mothra.
How's your morning?
Oh, I missed the first four. Gotcha. Astonishingly, she stays married to me. I don't know how or why. It's still astonishing.
Understand.
It's a mystery. I am still struggling with this, but you know what? I think I'm getting to the point where I'm like, it would have taken less time for me to hand animate all the different pieces of this vehicle.
Hand animating is a lot.
You know, it would have taken less time than it is to make me get the steering thing fixed.
Right.
So I'm just going to do just that. One of my things with this crew, and they're kind of expecting me to be done with something. You know, the fact that they're paying for things.
You're going robot-y.
Possibly better. Am I better now?
Maybe. You sound better.
Good.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah. We have dingy music coming in from the hip hop side. Ding dong ding ding dong ding.
Is that wife? Looks like. Yep.
Sometimes I feel like my life is about dingy music.
About dingy music.
I mean, really, legitimately.
No, that's right. Okay.
Good morning, Brent.
Brent.
All right.
How goes the droid creation, Brent?
Yeah. We've got a dome just sitting on that tray there, being domey.
Just make him a separatist.
Right?
Drone creation. Are you droid sympathizer, Brent? What are you making?
Me?
Yeah.
A tree.
Oh, okay.
Stylized tree. I just want some trees in the background because I was like, it looks kind of boring when you just have just a
Right.
Just
No,
a
I just saw. I was like, "What is this? What are you making right now?"
yeah, a tree.
Kind of dome thingy thing.
Yeah, and that's why I'm being kind of random about it. It's a tree. It's so you kind of want it to be just a little.
Right.
You know. I don't need it to be beautiful. It just needs to be enough that it looks kind of nice to have it in the background.
Understand.
Yeah, I felt like they finally started to get kind of what was going on with the droid thing in Star Wars in Solo. Because
What do
I
you
was
mean?
like, well, I've always felt like, even when I was a kid, I was like, they sure do treat the droids like crap. I love you. See you later. Have a good day at work. And I was like, they always treat
Teach
droids
good.
really like crap. And I was like, yeah, teach good. I'm actually working on Saturday now. So I also will be teaching good.
Awesome.
So that's what we do. This is a family.
But as you were saying about droids and Solo.
Yeah, but I feel like they didn't ever cover the. Has anybody noticed that the droids are effectively sentient and everybody treats them like slaves? You know, until Solo, when finally that droid was like, I'm fed up with being treated like a slave. And I'm like, see, finally, somebody finally addressed this.
We finally have a writer going, hey, let's just play this one very quick.
You ever noticed that? Yeah, exactly. I was kind of like, has anybody noticed this? Because I noticed it. You know, as a kid, I noticed this.
Right.
And Pepper's joining us.
Yay, Pepper!
Incoming Pepper!
Did you bring the salt? Don't listen.
I'm
in one of those
salty,
moods this
so
morning.
I'm always salty, so you need.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's a little. He's always
know.
salty, so there's that.
I'm just in one of those moods right now.
It's alright. It's alright.
You're only saying that because you don't have a name like Guy or Pepper.
I know.
We can't
Mine's
make
so
fun of your
generic.
name.
Colton.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, there's worse names that you can have.
It's true.
You could have a name that basically is like super, I guess ironic, because isn't your last name is what again?
Oh, mine?
Yeah.
Muheim?
Yeah, just be glad that your parents didn't name you Eustace or something.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. At one point in my life, my father said I was almost named Euclid, so...
I know somebody who is
Euclid?
literally named Galadriel.
Pepper
Yeah.
Euclid?
Yeah, my original first name, my dad said that if he didn't name me after him, he was going to name me Euclid.
Huh.
My mom says that's a lie. I would have been named Jonathan Stanley. So, take your pick.
Yeah.
I told that to someone when I was a kid, and they were like, "You look like a Jonathan." And like, what's that supposed to mean?
I don't know, but I mean, I do know that some people don't look like their name.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can think of is that I must have imprinted as a child on somebody named, let's say, Jonathan. And you don't look like that individual, but my brain no longer remembers the Jonathan anymore, just the traits. And so
Right.
that's the only thing I can think of, because you look like a Pepper to me, but that's because you're now really close to me as far as a person goes.
Yeah.
So I've imprinted your features to be Pepper. That's what Pepper looks like. That's what a Pepper looks like. Anyway, it's the same thing with Colton. That's what a Colton looks like. So, but I don't know. I don't remember what I first thought of you guys when I first met you. You know, well, Colton, you look like a George, and you know, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't remember that anymore because it's been phased out in favor of new programming. But it's still like,
I mean, Guy, you do look like a guy.
I do look like a guy. Oh,
honestly,
Pepper.
actually, Guy, you're not the first guy I've met, and you actually do look like the other guy that I met.
Weird. Pepper,
Wow.
I won't be there this weekend.
Huh?
I won't be there this weekend. I'm sorry,
That's fine.
but I got summoned to school.
You got someone to be a teacher.
I got summoned to actually go teach.
Okay.
Which actually,
Don't sound
I
so
say
sad
that.
about that. I thought you liked teaching.
I was gonna say I sound all like depressed about it, but really I'm only depressed about the fact that I'm not going to have lunch with you. That's it. I actually really enjoy doing my job, and I enjoy being a teacher, so I don't have any issues with it.
Yeah. That's fine. Well,
You
good.
enjoy your job? How dare you?
I know, right?
How dare you?
How dare you, sir?
How dare you enjoy
I'm
your
not gonna
career
let you
path?
win. You have to make it up to Bill.
I know. Poor Bill. He'll probably cry. So sad.
He's already crying.
He's already
He can hear you through the door.
Yeah, I know. So,
Like, Guy doesn't like me anymore. He cares about work too much.
I don't know if I should still go with more hatching on this or not.
Oh, I like it. I like that piece.
Hold on one second. I'm trying to zoom in. But
Here, let me give you full screen. Not like that helped. Let me try this. There we go.
there we go. I don't know about more hatching. I mean, that looks really good. Are you gonna color it or no?
Yeah, I'm coloring it.
Oh, okay.
So,
I don't think you really need to put more hatching on it, just because I think it came together really well.
okay. It's like one of those moments where I'm like, maybe I need more, maybe I need less. I don't know yet. And like,
I always hit that point when I'm like looking at those portions where I'm just like, if I add too much, is it going to be too much? If I don't, is it not going to be enough?
right.
I
That's
hate
where
that.
I'm at with it.
I like it though. It looks good.
Cool. Thank you. So I had watercolor paper left over from a kit that I got.
Nice.
Let me see. Ironically, it's A4 size, so it's the size of paper that mangaka will use. And so yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
You got it from a kit?
Yeah, I got it from a kit with A Gallows watercolor.
Oh, cool.
And so essentially, I'm using watercolor paper that is meant to paint floral watercolor paintings for a horror story.
Nice.
And I'm using those same watercolor paints.
How is
do
the
horror
paper?
story.
Nice.
Do you like the paper, or have you done anything with it yet, or is this your first piece?
This is the first time I've used it.
Nice.
So it's gonna be interesting to find out. I mean, I don't know what to expect, so I guess that's good. But every single time I've looked up someone using it, or like just
Good results.
yeah, they've always had good results, but it's always been botanicals, so it's like
Good botanical results.
Yeah.
You're changing it up, huh?
Yeah, I'm using bright colors to do horror. What a
I'm
weird...
okay with that. Of course, I'm also really big on irony. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last time I used bright colors, I kind of had to sit there, and I was thinking about it last night, and I'm like, the last time I had to do this, I had to muddy the colors. And I'm just like, I don't like muddying the colors. And it went back to the conversation that me and you had, Guy, about
muddying colors, yeah.
So,
Yeah, I want to sit with you at some point and talk about muddy colors.
yeah, because I actually thought about it a little bit more. It is really hard to bounce back if you're painting not digitally, but like physically. Like you actually have the painting in front of you, and you're doing it all traditional art. It's really hard to bounce back from muddying your colors in those spaces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Right.
So, is anyone doing anything for the month of October as far as art challenge goes? Because it seems like that's like the favorite time of year for artists.
It's because October is a great time for geeks.
I thought about it, but I don't think I have time with school.
Yeah, I don't have that.
I don't have
the
too many projects.
Using school as an excuse to get in Colton.
Yeah, Colton.
It's a good excuse.
It is. It works really well.
It only works as far as you going to school.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. It's as one person pointed out in a very interesting movie I watched one time. You can only use virgin birth once.
That's true.
True.
Well, that's it, Colton. You can't use virgin birth anymore. Stop it.
Fair. That's hilarious. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Ironically, I actually think that movie was saved. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Saved or not.
No.
By the Bell?
No, it's okay. So it's a movie with Mandy Moore, and Macaulay Culkin is like a handicapped kid. Susan Sarandon's daughter, Mira something, I can't remember her last name.
Savino?
Yeah, no, not Savino. Basically, the long story short is they all live in like Utah area, and they go to an ultra Christian religious school. And the lead female character is like playing this girl, and her boyfriend basically comes out of the closet to her.
Nice.
And her response is, and this is why I don't like some Christian types of ways of schooling kids. She basically comes over to her boyfriend's house, who hasn't been out to his family yet.
Oh no.
Basically attempts to convert him by having sex with him.
Yep.
Resulting in her getting pregnant. And so she hides the fact that she's pregnant, and all these people help her. Then she gets kicked out of school because she gets pregnant, and they found out. But Mandy Moore is such a... Oh my god, like, the character herself is just, like, really bad. And she throws like the main character, the main actress. Basically, one of her lines, I believe, is, "You can only use virgin birth once." She's like, I get why Mary was probably scared if she went through something like this, and then she probably had to claim that she had a virgin birth. Like, I was just like, holy crap, that's right. I've heard girls have these conversations in a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, this is the result of what happens when you, like, basically don't properly teach kids.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And, I love the movie because it paralleled with my life as a teenager so well.
Yeah, but I mean that is definitely that's what teachers keep saying all along, is, you know, because I mean we're not allowed in school. Even in Japan, we weren't allowed to get too deep into sex ed.
Yeah.
Because it freaked everybody out. Oh God, you're talking about sex and stuff. So we weren't allowed.
So everybody said penis in the classroom,
right? And it's like, and so you'd end up with these poor kids who, you know, they didn't know anything,
right?
Yeah.
And
so she ends up like getting kicked out of school, but then she tries to go back for prom, that sort of deal. At one point, Mandy Moore's character throws a Bible at the girl.
Nice.
And they try to pray the gay away as well.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like, yep. But yeah, if anyone's actually watched that movie, it's hysterical. In my viewpoint, it's hysterical.
Oh yeah. I feel like it's a little scary for my setup, because of course I taught school, and that was one of those things that was always sad, was when somebody got pregnant.
Well, for me, since I went to that type of school, like that had that mentality, like if you get pregnant, you're going to hell.
Yep.
If a girl got pregnant, she literally was sent to. She was basically like, you have to leave.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you're saying that, but the truth is that's why my mom never got a degree. She got at the near graduation. We're all going to graduate. Kegger. She got pregnant, and they kicked her out.
Well,
she had like 90% of a degree, and then she never got to use any of it because they kicked her out.
My whole thing with it, though, with my school, is when I went to school there, they brought someone in to talk to us about Mary of Guadalupe, the painting. And it turned into this like mass preaching of how we should abstain from sex before marriage. Somehow, like I'm just
not somehow. It's religious.
I mean, but the thing is even the staff was uncomfortable with it, because like this was not something that was discussed with the staff at my school of what he was going to be teaching,
right?
Or saying.
Yeah, preaching is the case, maybe.
Yeah, and like he intertwined his personal life and everything in it. It was really bizarre.
It was really uncomfortable.
Yeah, Bill makes a point.
Yeah. That was
eventually in high school. Eventually in high school, they actually had to.
Oh shoot! It's your. Oh, it's. It was like Bill. I don't see Bill. Oh, he's in the chat.
It messages
I do see Bill.
Is now on through texting.
That works.
Yeah.
Okay with that.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
Bill,
works.
I guess you didn't
Bill.
hear, but I got summoned to school on Saturday, so I'll be working at school on Saturday. So I won't be able to come have lunch with you guys. Sorry. I still love you.
I work to
He
get
has
done.
work to get done. Aw.
But I still love you. It's okay. It's all right. I'll be there later. I'll come visit again. I'll be down in November, I guess. It's kind of a bummer. But on the same token, I really don't want to let her down. Because I'm afraid that if I don't take these jobs from time to time, then she's going to be like, we never really called on you because you were never really available. Yeah. And then it's like, why have I not been teaching? But I want to teach. I love kids. They taste like chicken.
I want children on toast.
Right?
On toast.
Tomorrow, Hocus Pocus 2 comes out.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have Bette Midler in it?
It does.
Nice.
Does it have it has the 3 original witches, right?
Nikki Dima and Sarah Jessica Parker have reprised their roles. Yep.
Sweet.
I was watching one of the trailers of them on like broomsticks and whatnot, and I was trying to pin out if it was the exact same actresses or not.
It's hard to tell because everybody.
I have to credit Nikki Dima. She went through a whole entire weight loss journey and reprised this role. And like I was watching one of the trailers and I seriously think she had
the 2 Roombas.
Yeah, like those 2 Roombas alone, like she balances on them very well, and I know she's probably on wires and stuff. But still, when you're on wires and you have to basically act like you are moving on 2 flying Roombas, that scene is just gonna be like awesome in my mind so far.
Wow.
Like I don't get enough. Like I don't think I'll get enough of watching it. Just that scene alone. But none of the original kid cast is going to be in the film.
That's interesting.
I mean, that makes sense though. They're farther away from everything now.
Yeah. Well,
That's the one I
mean,
kind of figured we weren't gonna see was the kids, but the 3 witches are definitely the 3 main things of that movie.
Like you have Thora Birch, who I think is still doing a stint on The Walking Dead. Omer Katz completely left acting.
Really?
And then, he directs and he produces more often than he actually acts.
Oh, that's fair.
He's like when I say he's no longer acting, it doesn't mean he's left the industry. Sort of
Yeah,
speak.
it's kind of hard to leave an industry when you're good at it.
Well, especially like all 3 of them, Thora Birch, Omer Katz, and then the girl who played Vanessa, they were child actors. They grew up. This is like the industry that they grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I see what you mean. She really did go through a weight loss thing.
Yeah.
Kathy Nijmi?
Yeah. Nikki Dima?
Yeah. I was like, really? Did she? And I was like, holy crap, you're right. She really did. I did not recognize her until like right now, until I mentioned that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
The first thing, like one of the things that I saw her in after she had lost weight was Hallmark's The Good Witch TV series. And she like comes out around the corner and I'm like, I had to blink. Because the previous thing that I saw her in was one of her in-between phases, and she was playing a mom to a gay bear in a previous movie that I was watching.
Nice. I swear I've seen her in something else now that I mentioned it. Like, now that I see her, like, with lost weight and all that, I'm like, I swear I've seen you in something else.
Yeah, no, since she's lost weight, she's been in a ton of things.
Yeah.
I mean, and Bill made a good point. And I was actually listening to a podcast about the podcast meets world or something. What is it called? Hold on, I have it up still. Pod meets world, where it's the Boy Meets World crew, except for Ben Savage. So it's Daniel Fisher, Ryder Strong, and Will Friedle. And they were talking, like, I was just before the show, they were talking to Marty, who played Yaya McCling in The Sandlot, and they were all talking, and one of the subjects that came up was, if you work a normal job, people think you failed as an actor.
Yeah.
And then I was just, like, thinking about it, and I was like, you can tell someone till you're blue in the face that you're a cartoonist, but if they don't see your work every day, they don't believe you.
Yep.
You know, like, and I think it falls into the category of when you're looking for entertainment and you don't see the person that you think could entertain you, whether it be reading, comic books, cartoons, comic strips, you know, just general stories, whatnot, it kind of seems to take away from, like, the whole experience of doing what we do.
Right.
So, I don't know.
True. I get it.
No.
Yeah. Bill's right.
Yeah, it's also it's that concept of a lot of it, though, is also,
It's the Terry
if
Honda.
an artist isn't just doing art for their rest of like for their whole lives, like, a lot of people think that means you're failing as an artist if you're not doing it.
Right.
Which sucks.
Mm-hmm. It
It
does.
is totally true.
Because there's a lot of times, like, there's plenty of artists out there that they only do it part-time because they can't make it full-time or whatever.
Well, there are some artists that do it part-time because that's their choosing. They don't want to do it more than they have to, and which is respectful.
Or they realize what the commitment side is and they don't want to commit that much.
Right. Like, I mean, lack of better analogies, people who strive to be in galleries,
Yeah.
it's really hard to get in, but once you get into a gallery, you kind of get this bug where you kind of want to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Because your art is up for people to see. You don't have to work so hard for people to see it.
It's true.
True. Definitely true.
So,
It does make it easier
Right.
too if your art is posted and people can just come in and look at it. It makes it a lot easier for you to not be, like, constantly trying to find it. Like, get your name out there as often.
yeah.
I mean, that's
But a lot of people also don't see the kind of work that a lot of those artists that are trying to do galleries, the beforehand work to get into the gallery, can be very stressful.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I had, when I just got out of college, I interviewed with several galleries just to see if I could get a job.
yep.
And they were like, well, do you have any gallery experience? And I'm like, I thought that's why I was here.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's when that started, you know, like, immediately.
Right.
And it's just annoying. It's just annoying.
No, I get that part too. And also, like, galleries are very, like, a different lifestyle too, if I remember right.
Yeah, because you have patrons that always buy a piece of art every single time you show. And then you kind of rely on those same patrons every single time you have a show to at least sell one thing.
And you're kind of betting on them showing up that week or whatever.
Showing up at openings, stuff like that. It's an introvert's nightmare too, because you literally have to sit there and talk to these people and be like, "Hi, how are you doing?" And like legitimately, basically saying to them, like, talk to them about the process, answer all their questions.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mentally exhausting.
I could see that.
Oh yeah. I feel for you guys. That's hard for extroverts.
It can be.
There's
not really much of a topic to jump on. It does get hard.
I have seen some extroverts thrive in this situation, so it's not all extroverts that would get
it's like everything. It's not everybody. Yeah. We're all human beings, but all I was trying to say was sympathy. It's hard for extroverts, so it must be really hard for introverts. That's really all I was trying to say. I wasn't trying to discredit extroverts or anything.
Burn them at the stake, Pepper.
I'll burn them at the stake. I don't mind. No. Now, like, some of the shows that I've been to, like, it's also every single show, it's a network event.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're in one show, you typically have another gallery coming to see what is at this show to see if it can fit in their gallery, too.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get into one gallery, it's easier to get into others.
It's that whole as once you can get your foot in the door kind of stuff.
Yeah. But then I also, because when I was starting to do the whole gallery stuff, before I did MetaZoo, I was in galleries. And I was just starting to get into it and like really just kind of do the process. And then, bam, all of a sudden, I get told, "Oh, well, we're looking for this. Can you do this piece of artwork this way?"
Mm-hmm.
So it sells. And I'm like, okay. And I always sold the pieces after the show was done. Like, never during the show. So I kind of got discouraged that way.
Oh, it kind of became a commission-based kind of system?
No. In
that kind of a sense? Because, I mean, they're asking you to draw a specific thing, so you can actually go...
well, yeah, and, like, one gallery gave me the supplies, and then my piece didn't sell, so, therefore, the piece came back to me. Because to be part of the show, I had to give them a piece, and then you get paid, I think this gallery was 65% me, and the rest went to the gallery.
Oh, okay.
Horrible.
And then it was a 70-30 with the gallery right next door that I also was in. And then I think I still have a piece hanging in another one. They never called me to come pick it up, so I think it's still there. Which is fine, they can keep it, because I have nowhere to put it in my house. And then I got a contact from another person, whom, like, I sat there and I looked at the contract, and it was supposed to be for a charity show. And I'm, like, sitting there, I'm looking, and they expected me. Okay, so, like, you have 100%, and they wanted me to do, they get 60 and I get 40, but of my 40, I had to give up, like, half of that 40% to the charity.
What?
Yeah. So, like, when you're
So,
working with
I'm
galleries,
submitting art for this, and I still have to pay my way into your exhibit or to the charity that you guys are. That doesn't even make sense, but all right.
yeah. So I basically said, "Listen, I'm very sorry. I don't feel comfortable with this. I'm gonna back out." And they're like, "Are you sure? Your piece is amazing, and it would fit right in with everything, and it would really do well for the kids' charity." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "It doesn't make me feel comfortable."
Yeah.
I would support your charity in other ways. I just can't do this.
You guys are wanting me to give up all my profit for this charity.
Pretty much. Like, they were
Which,
going to.
I'm cool helping out charities, but when I've already put in time for this charity and you're wanting more out of me, that's no.
Well, and what really got me was the way it was worded was of their 60%, they keep 40 for operational costs, and 20% of theirs goes to the charity, which means my fee being cut in half is actually more than what they were going to pay from their part.
Right.
More than their cut.
And so, like, when I'm talking about like galleries and stuff, this is like the business side of art. Like, people don't realize you have to be very careful on what you sign.
Right.
Well, that's
true. Yeah, like, I mean, I know that's true in general for any job, but for art specifically, you can screw yourself so bad by signing the wrong contract.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Like, I know people who sign contracts giving full range, emotion, and everything for their images to be promoted on items and everything. And then they're like, I never did that. But then when you look at their contract, they did.
They totally
did. They didn't read fine print. They didn't go through percentages. They didn't go through compensation. They just didn't think that someone would screw them over. And the moment that they got screwed over, they cried wolf. I never did this. But then, and I've seen some of their contracts, and I'm like, no, you did. You did sign over
this
your artwork. You signed over your artwork free of charge. You're not supposed to get royalties. You're not supposed to get a kickback. You're not even supposed to get products. You're not even getting paid. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you didn't read this properly, did you? And like that's a really big thing that I think that we really don't talk about often enough in the art industry.
We really don't. I mean, we let a lot of our people just get burned, and we really should.
It's not even us letting us get burned, though. It's also not teaching people that they need to actually read contracts.
I guess that's not.
There's a lot of people like when you just go to a regular job. Most of the time, you're always signing a contract when you're working a day job too, and it's usually a generic contract for everybody to work.
Yeah, I mean, that sounded a lot.
And that's what everybody thinks that they're signing when the company they go work for is like, oh yeah, this is for your art, and they're like, oh cool. Like any other job I've worked, I'm going to sign this. And without actually looking at it and realizing, oh, I get no royalties. I get nothing. All my time and effort is now worth nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and as Brett put it, it's not just reading it, it's understanding the contract.
Yeah,
so
that's
if you don't understand the contract, like, forget it. Like, the only reason why I know how to understand contract lingo is I had to read contracts as a child due to my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, and I know that sounds like super weird, like what in the world was Pepper doing to have to do a read contracts for his parents, but my parents were in construction, so I was reading construction contracts in a way where as a child, like, I would sit there reading them and I would be like, okay, so this person has to pay this much every single month, blah, 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 so that the project doesn't, like, drop in, like, money coming in, that sort of deal. And, like, that experience kind of, like, shifted how I actually was given contracts. Like, I do actually read them. And like for a normal retail job, if you hand me a contract, I don't need to read it to know what's inside of it. Like I do know what's going to be there. It's going to have like a code of conduct. It's gonna a code of conduct. It's going to have your rules and regulations of how you can be late and if you need to call off and all of this other stuff, like all this stuff that you don't really think about, that they usually explain after you've already signed the contract for being hired. And those I don't mind signing without fully reading them because they're pretty much generic, like Colton said. So, I'm sorry, I'll get down off my soapbox there, guy.
No, that wasn't. My mouse has disappeared. So, my mouse is gone. So I don't know where I'm pointing. The mouse pointer is gone. It just vanished. So I mean, as if I'm not having enough. So I have to finish this animation so that I've got something to show them. I have to finish it by 11 so that I can show them something for today's meeting. Because the meeting's not until 2, but I have a therapy session at 11 and then lunch, and then by the time I get back from lunch, it's going to be 2. So I don't really have the time to screw around with Daz deciding to, oh, well, this time we're just not going to do this. You're going to have to restart the entire program. You know what I mean? I just don't have the time for that. But that's what's going to have to happen. So that's why I'm sighing. I'm just like,
So what time is your meeting today?
2. Luckily, I have a pen. And with a pen, I can click things, but yeah, clearly my
Okay.
That lawn needs to be mowed. Do something about that lawn. I don't care.
That's what she said, Brad.
Oh boy.
Have you guys ever watched the Redneck Tour Rides Again, or one of the Redneck Tours one? Where
the comedy skits?
Yeah, the comedy skit one.
Yeah.
Where Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall,
Jeff Foxworthy, and
and I think they switch out the last guy.
they usually do, but it's usually Ron White.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's usually like one of their main ones that kind of jumps in and out, though.
Yeah. So they're all like sitting there, and I think they use a euphemism type deal. Like they're like, yeah, maybe you should mow your lawn to make your deck look bigger.
Yeah, I remember that skit.
I mean, it's funny. It's funny because it's like yeah, like I kind of grew up with these jokes.
Same. Now we used to, when they used to be put on television, me and my parents used to always watch them all the time.
Oh, I usually got the DVDs so that they wouldn't be censored.
Nice. Yeah, because also because what Bill Engvall had "Here's your sign" for everything. Like they had their like quirks. They did their thing.
For the Scooby-Doo episode for Scooby-Doo and Guess Who, they had Jeff Foxworthy come on, and they changed "You might be a redneck if" to something else, and then every single time he said it, me and Bill watched the episode, and we were just like cringing every single time because it was so unnatural.
Right.
Like they did, instead of redneck, they used a different word because they didn't want to have kids calling other kids rednecks.
Mm-hmm.
Which, okay, I get you don't want kids to use it against other kids. Got it. But I have to say, redneck in the terms of Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Engvall, Ron White, all of them, redneck is not an actual insult. They actually take pride in it. So I don't
Yeah.
quite understand.
I mean, Larry the Cable Guy wasn't even a redneck until he joined that group. So.
Well, Larry the Cable Guy, if you hear him not talk like Larry the Cable Guy, is a highly intelligent person.
Yeah. No, yeah, he does it. He does Larry the Cable Guy's a facade for him.
Yeah, it's a facade because
it's a role.
Yeah, like, and I actually lived in the town that he talks about, Sanford, Florida. I lived in that town. I know what he says about those people very well, and I can tell you and assure you, he is not embellishing about those people.
Mm-hmm.
That's legitimately how they are. So, yeah, I went to that flea market that he talks about, and I could totally see his grandma basically like being accused of having a cabbage in her pants due to her farting, because that's the type of people that were there.
Right.
Weird, yes, but nope, that's probably what happened. But that place in Florida is... I hope everyone's alright in Florida, so...
None of my friends are, right now, that are out there, are saying that they're safe. So that's all the people that I know that are out there, as long as they say they're safe, I'm happy.
Well, I just told my brothers, like, if you... I just told them, I'm like, if you have a house, if you have trees fall on you, just let me know. Because my brother, like, went outside and actually filmed the trees. And,
oh, really?
Yeah, like, my mom even said, like, well, you have to understand, some of the winds were, like over 100 miles an hour, so...
Right.
He also took a picture of, like, a small tornado forming right near the house as well.
Oh, wow.
Because a lot of like the most destruction about a hurricane is not the actual hurricane itself. It's the other weather events that come with the hurricane. So you have tornadoes that form that are like really low grade tornadoes, but they can really tear up a neighborhood. That's what demolished during Andrew. That's what demolished a lot of Miami neighborhoods were those tornadoes. Yeah. You have the wind and you have the rain that also like does, but like at one point during a tornado, like one point during a hurricane, we actually got like kind of slushy rain because certain parts of it got cooled too fast, and like basically you have that happens,
right?
Which can lead to hail in the hurricane. And some people will be like, "No, that doesn't happen." I'm like, I'm from Florida. It is possible. You have to have the right conditions for it to happen. But like, I mean, I called my mom. She had hurricane-proof windows, so she was fine. My dad put shutters up, according to my brothers. You know, like, everyone was just battening down the hatches and drinking alcohol, copious amounts.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. Actually, that's kind of what you do in any natural
Make
disaster.
sure your animals are good and you just hang out. That's kind of all you
hang out.
You know?
Got nothing better to do.
No, so that's what, like, my friends, I asked them, I was like, how you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're doing good. We got the animals set. The house is all put together. I'm like, well, hope the animals do well through this. They're like, yeah, same.
Well, you know, like, my dad's house, they had like to bring all the animals in that's normally on the patio. So they had like a ferret, a rabbit, a chicken,
Yeah.
a duck, like that. And I'm not joking; they really do have those, along with all of their dogs and everything like that were already in the house, plus their parrots. So I mean, my mom just has a dog,
Mm-hmm.
so there's that. Like,
All right.
yeah.
Uphill with a curb.
That car looks like it's driving on the curb.
Well, I just realized it can't be left because it's on the wrong side of the road.
Well, I thought you were drawing it as like it's parked or something.
Yeah, it's supposed to be parked. Yep. Wrong thing.
Colton, how much more school do you have?
3 years?
Wait, did you just start? Because I thought you've been in school for 3 years.
I can only do half a semester.
What?
I can. Because of working full time and all that, I can't do a full schedule of school. So
Okay.
I'm technically halfway there.
Okay.
It's rough. I pretty much had to make my 4-year degree almost into an 8 because of it. So
Gotcha.
that's really the only things that actually like transferred over from when I went. But also, I went like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
so a lot of my stuff
threw stuff around.
And that is just like a lot of my stuff didn't transfer over because 10 years worth of knowledge. They're like, yeah, everything's changed. I mean, look at the way we teach math now to kids.
Yeah, but in college they still teach the old way of doing math.
I know, but how everybody's being taught now, they have to adapt their ways into that way. It's so stupid. I hate it.
I talked to someone who was taught the new math and then went to college for teaching. And I was like, how'd that go? And she was like, I had to be untaught everything I learned and retaught how to do math.
Yeah.
It sucked. Because she's a math teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, really?
I think math's the only one that they said I did not have to redo just because I did pass it. And they were just like, yeah, and I think it's for that reason because everything's been getting flopped around. Like, we're not even going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I found it highly ironic because when I went to high school and then I went to college, the college course that I took for math, like all the college courses for math, were all the same textbook I had back in high school.
No, okay.
So, like, the school I went to, like, high school was a college prep school. So, like, don't get me wrong, like, I don't mind having it, but, like, I, like, literally had the same books as I did in college. And I was like, maybe I should have just tested out of this class. Like, I don't know. Because they did, the way that they did math is, like, I think I only had to do, like, 2 math classes when I was going to school. But they weren't exactly algebra and they weren't exactly geometry. Like, they were, like, somewhere in between. And I took a class that was in between algebra and geometry. And, like, they just used the book that I previously owned and I sold back to my high school. And I was like, okay, well, there you go. Oh, wow, I ended the music.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'll restart.
You're like, you're so boring. You sucked the life out of the music.
Damn. I don't think you're boring.
Mm.
I'm restarting the music, but it's not restarting. Oh, there we go. Now it's restarting.
Not gonna lie, this song kind of reminds me that someone should be coming out to start a porn video.
Oh, you didn't realize that what the stream was?
Woo!
Woohoo! Wait, I thought that was for our OnlyFans only.
Right?
We're merging.
Definitely the nighttime show. Oh yeah, now that I'm dropping scissors, come over here and rub on me. That's a great idea, George.
You're down at my level. Acknowledge me.
Right?
I just wanna point out, like, going from that to having you say that, and since George is a cat, like, and we know that, but if someone was coming in and not realizing George was a cat,
Right?
that would have been hysterical.
Oh yeah.
George time. It's George time. My weirdo little cat, who's not so little anymore,
Mm.
but he's
Well,
still George.
I think once we adopt, I think we may end up getting a puppy or a kitten.
Yep.
I didn't realize how long that process is. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's
Oh, for
The adoption
a-
process is
It's
crazy.
part of the reason why when you get into that fight about abortion, that becomes part of the issue.
Well, and also at the same time, like a lot of people don't realize on how easily you can offend a person who's waiting for an adoption to happen in their life. Like, you know, like a lot of people don't realize on how offensive it sounds to a person just waiting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all for people sitting there saying, yes, I don't mind if you have the right to choose. I think it's okay for you to have the right to choose. But don't try to come crying to me because you're upset that you chose to do it.
Right.
You know,
I've
like
never met anybody who did that. Mom.
I know a few girls that actually did regret having it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them
Sure.
do. That's the thing. A lot of them do regret afterwards. They don't realize what they got into until after it happens.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I mean, and then the next time they get pregnant, they don't do it, and they have the baby because they felt bad the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and they just didn't want to relive it, and you know they become great parents and everything like that, and they wish that they had never done it with their previous child, which is fine. But then I also know the flip side where people like basically don't mind. They don't have like they have feelings, but they basically go on with their lives and they have more than one.
Yep.
And that's the freedom of choice.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And
I mean, that's the whole point of it.
yeah.
Is, like my mom, it ruined her entire life getting
Mhm.
pregnant.
Yeah.
Changed her entire course of history.
Mm-hmm.
Her design on life was completely changed because she was drunk one night. And the guy that got her pregnant, his life didn't change. Hers did.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think like the what was it the high school I went to, they didn't really punish the guys at all if a girl got
Mhm.
pregnant.
Of course.
Yep.
But I went to school. I went to school with a girl in high school. Her parents were 16 years old when she was born,
Mm-hmm.
and they went to the same high school as we did. And her parents have had all the same teachers she did.
That's creepy.
All right. But all of them remember her parents in high school.
Yep.
And after my classmate was born, her mom could come back to the high school because and the boy could as well, in the understanding that they were getting married.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's
What?
like the one thing I didn't tell you guys about. So
Hey, okay, that's a game changer. Okay.
yeah, so like basically what it was they got married at like 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
My classmate was like 1. But they got
Wow.
married while going, and that was like they had a promise that they were getting married, all of that stuff in order to attend classes again.
Yep,
Jeez.
that's not cool.
Did they stay together?
Oh yeah, they had like 5 more children, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. The her parents were extremely happy with one another. They were high school sweethearts, so
Well, that's good. At least
um,
that came from it.
yeah. I mean, I think I think a lot of people like look down at the whole high school sweetheart thing because it's like it seems like it doesn't exist anymore. But when you see it actually exist, it's kind of nice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Mine was more than like it sounded like they were being forced into like, oh, you knocked her up, you have to marry her now. I'm like, this sounds like a forced scenario.
oh
But if
Yep.
they actually
no,
made it work
it
out, that's awesome.
definitely no, Colton, it definitely was
Oh, okay.
in order to attend school
Right.
there. It definitely was.
Okay, so it was. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad they made it work out and they
Yeah.
actually liked each other.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like,
still.
it could have been pretty ugly.
Mm-hmm. But also, I have to remind everyone I went to a Catholic school. So everything had to
Mhm.
adhere to Catholic society at that time. In Catholic society, if you knock someone up, you had to get married to them prior to them having the baby.
Right.
So the fact that they had the baby and then got married, that was a big leap for that part of that part of the generation in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, her parents went on to have college careers. They went on to,
Awesome.
and they're
I'm
both
glad to hear that.
successful. So, I mean, I think it also goes back to having a proper support structure to kids in that
Yeah.
situation. That's the other thing that I'm not really hitting on is support structure is key for all of that.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of
Because
things, really.
yeah. Well, I mean, and Guy has brought up his mom, and I understand that, like, her experience was one thing, but
Sure.
I mean, I'm fully aware that there are some people who, for lack of better terms, don't have don't have a path of support.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it difficult. So
I mean,
It
I totally
does.
understand that. My mom was in that same boat. Like, she didn't really have a support. Like, she did and she didn't, I guess.
yeah.
When I came into the world, because she was 20 when she had me.
Yeah, my eldest sister was born. The year my mom turned 22, and my
Mm-hmm.
dad turned 20 the following day after my eldest sister was born. So
Okay.
they were fairly young too. They were barely out of their teens when they became parents.
Mm-hmm.
My dad literally turned 20 the next day.
Right.
Oh, dang.
And I'm not joking. Like my sister is born the day before my father's birthday. Had she just been born 2 hours later, she would have shared the birthday.
Wow. That's funny.
Yeah, I think the only real problem I ever have is every situation is different. So making a law that says you can't do it at all
Yeah.
means that you can't. You're knocking out 50% of the situations.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was like something I was reading about the whole abortion thing going on right now and whatnot. And like, then so many states now are just overruling it. It's like, no, abortion's back to normal. You can't just legalize, like, criminalize abortion,
Well, the thing is what a lot of people don't realize is what they did is they took it away from being like if abortion was such a thing that that they wanted to work to keep in the country federally protected, any president could have ratified it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
And
actually,
that's the
couldn't.
thing that people don't realize is the government itself never took the time to ratify it to make it permanent.
That's a cop out
No,
because actually
it's
a
not a
number
cop
of
out.
presidents wanted to, but they couldn't.
Well, no, they felt that they couldn't. They could have done it. Any president could have done it in an executive order. There, guy.
I don't think executive orders can do that.
Not in the past, but I don't know if you've seen on how far that they've pushed the limits of those executive orders recently between the last two presidencies.
That's true. It's been kind of weird lately.
Yeah, I mean, though true, you do know that like Reagan was the one that put out the most executive orders.
Yes, I do know that. I'm very much aware of that. His executive orders nearly ruined my family's businesses.
All I'm trying to say is
And
that I
Bill
don't
is
think
actually
there
making
has
a
been
very
that
good point
many.
right now.
I don't think there's been that many executive orders. Yeah, Clinton 254, Bush put 291, Obama 276, Trump had 220, and Biden has put out 98 so far.
Mm-hmm. But
What are the restrictions?
An executive order?
yeah,
Limits.
it can't create laws. That is true. However, some of Trump's executive orders have literally gone really, really close to going against that, and it's made a
Yeah.
very
No, I
gray
know. I'm
area.
curious. I'm just curious because one of the counter arguments has been that the reason that Roe v. Wade went the way it did was because there was no way for the liberal side of our politics to ever set that, because the conservative side was so strongly, and the religious conservative, not the normal conservative, the religious conservative had so much power. And we're talking about the 40s and the 50s. So we're not even talking about current administration.
Yeah,
at all.
so Roe versus Wade was in the 60s.
No, it was in the 70s, but it was
Okay.
that's why I was saying.
So in the politics during the 70s, I can understand it's new, they don't really want to do it. In the 80s, you had Reagan, yeah, but you still had people pass some laws that were extremely flexible.
Yeah, see, Reagan would never have done it because he was actually pro-life, and neither would have
Well, I know that,
Bush.
but
So the
I
only
mean,
opportunity we would have had would have been Clinton or Obama.
Yeah. So, and then
And
why did
Clinton,
Clinton was more in tune with Monica Lewinsky. But like, I mean, Obama could have done a lot of other good things, and he could have done it too. So I
right?
don't know.
But here's the thing: because of Youngstown Company versus Sawyer, which is 1952, there's a limit to what the president can do if it goes against constitutional laws, or if it goes against the will of the Congress. So they can't issue executive orders, if it's against the will of Congress. And so that's actually part of the problem.
Is that what Brent's saying right now?
Yeah. The president's power, if any, to issue an order must stem either from an act of Congress or from the Constitution itself. There is no statute that expressly authorizes the president to take possession of property, nor is there any act of Congress to which attention has been directed from such a power can be fairly or implied. So this is a ruling on what the power of the president has in 52. So there's a limit to presidential orders.
Yes, and I never denied that.
No, I know, but I mean, when you put the onus when you put the onus of whether Roe v. Wade,
I just got excited.
Roe v. Wade went into effect because that was the only path that they could use. And could they use it since then? Maybe, but in order for it to have actually been ratified as a law, it would have had to have passed Congress as a bill. And the problem is whether you had deadlocked Congresses or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can only create a law. That's actually what Brent is saying.
Yes, I understand that.
So the biggest problem was
what I was trying to get at is there's a way that certain leadership has performed in the past that could have gotten it ratified and not threatened to be taken away on a federal protection.
Like I said,
there were ways, and people didn't do it. That's what happened.
I still feel like that's kind of the reason this punishment's happening is because people didn't, as opposed to we just really screwed up.
Yeah, but they screwed up by no action. So how is it wrong for blaming the people who were supposed to help when they didn't act? I don't quite understand why you wanted me to not blame the people in charge of making sure that it would have possibly been possible.
Well, mostly because I feel like that's the political argument against why, well, this is the Democrats' fault. And I'm like,
I'm not saying Democrat or Republicans' fault in it.
It's the liberals' fault because the liberals are the ones that have been trying.
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying anyone in charge in the government that wanted to make sure that this was protected didn't act. Doesn't matter what political party that they were; they didn't act.
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm not blaming a party. I'm not blaming anything else. I am literally blaming the people in charge.
Pepper, Roe v. Wade was a very weak.
I'm gonna go get more coffee.
Okay, Roe v. Wade was a very weak stopping point that allowed the legal parties in our nation to prevent people from hurting people who performed abortions. In order to ratify that needs to go through Congress and become law, and Congress would never approve of it.
Well, we've had multiple times where Congress was Democratic and more liberal. Why did it not get pushed through then? That's my question. There's times where both the Democrats and more liberal Democrats had both houses. Mm-hmm. And I understand that the president could have, vetoed it. But if it passed both houses and the people were already doing the actions and basically making sure that they had that as an option, why couldn't it have been approved of basically, okay, this is now in our population, like it was done with other matters in our country?
That's what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is again, it falls to infighting and leadership and not actually providing proper things.
Yeah.
And Bill makes a very good point. Not all liberals were actually for abortion.
It's also true. But I mean, the Hyde Amendment, the global gag rule, Planned Parenthood of Southeastern Pennsylvania versus Casey, Gonzalez versus Colhart and Gonzalez versus Planned Parenthood of Federation of America, Whole Women Health versus Hallersteed, June Medical Services versus Russo, Texas 6-week ban. So, I mean, the thing is that there have been a number of legal fights that have gone on. But moreover, what about Congress? Because Congress, I'm looking at H.R. 7153, and the 108th Congress was H.R. So, I mean, like, there's a number of times that they've tried to put a bill through, looking through now, and they were all shot down.
Yeah, they were shot down.
Killed it.
But also at the same time, have you read what was being proposed that was also within those documents? because they
Well,
always find a minute detail within it, going back to our previous discussion about when you read a contract as an artist, you need to read it fully.
sure.
And you're talking about people who read these documents fully. And in those documents, there is always something in there that basically may or may not piss someone off because you inadvertently like allow something else to go through when you pass this. And
Well, I
is
have a
there
feeling.
something else going on in there? Because that is on how American politics work. When
I
they
have a
see,
feeling that you are both defending it and saying that that's the reason why. Like you
yes,
just
but
said
it's
that the
still people
government
in
didn't
power
do
making these
anything. They
decisions.
did do something, and then you say, "Well, yeah, but they wrote all this stuff in it." Well, that's also true. I'm actually
Like,
anti-pork barreling as well. I don't believe that
like
that's a
I
what's
don't
a,
I like but that's what I'm trying to get at is like it's not exactly I'm for it. I'm just like stop
yeah.
putting the blame on certain specific parties, stop putting the blame on certain specific movements,
I,
stop
I,
doing that. It's
I'm
a
not. What I'm
person and
trying.
we need to blame people and we need to basically make sure that people who are in power realize that people who don't agree with them anymore and that they were supposed to be in a position where they were supposed to protect and lead people properly are now not feeling protected, not feeling seen, not feeling doing this, and now their jobs as leadership in this country should be affected. Like they should realize you may have done something but you didn't do it properly and now everyone's seen it.
Okay,
That's
now
what
my
I'm trying
turn.
to get at.
Okay, no, gotcha.
That's
My
what I'm
turn.
trying to get
Okay, so we have allowed a number of things to happen in our Congress that we really should never have allowed,
at.
and
Yeah.
we do. Pork barreling is one of them. It was designed originally to make Congress not slow and sluggish and take thousands of years to come through with
Yeah.
things. However, what has of course occurred is that now it becomes a political whatever. So I want
Mhm.
to make an abortion protection bill. I know it will pass Congress, and those two dudes over there that don't want it are going to add set fire to Virginia as a pork barrel on it so that it'll guarantee to fail because that's been put
Yeah.
on. And the fact that two people in Congress can stop a bill by doing that is a problem in our Congress.
Right.
However, what occurred is bad things have happened to the US citizens.
Mhm.
And saying, well, yeah, but Congress should just get better doesn't fix it. We have a situation
Oh
where
no.
Congress can now stop their own bills by two people wanting to go against it. That's an issue. That
Yeah.
means a very, very, very small minority can control our entire government.
Hmm.
But, bills saying that it should be tossed back to the states, I don't agree because now you've got people fleeing states because of the fact that they don't feel safe there, and we
Well,
get our
I
own
mean,
migration and immigration problems
we,
internally.
yeah, we also have we have a lot of people that have come to Colorado because of the protections
Right.
and freedom of choice thing, and I do recognize that Colorado is one of those states that they've made it so that yes, you can have freedom of choice in the state as much as you want. And that is due to the local government, that is due to the governor making sure that it continues to stay that way. And I understand that part. But here's the deal when I'm looking at that overall situation and they're trying to say, oh, okay, so I have, these constituents and they like having freedom of choice and they like doing this, let me make sure that I continually provide that for them because if I don't, I will look like a monster to my own citizens. And that is where that to me that is good leadership because they recognize okay I have this in my communities and everything and I need to make sure that it stays versus the opposite where like it doesn't like people don't want to do that people don't want that but it's a minority want not a majority want and unfortunately with democracy I have to say this again our form of democracy is a republic democracy. or a democratic republic, however you want
Yeah.
to word it. But I
That
believe it's
means that a minority can control it.
minority can control it, yes, but at the same time, when it comes to all the people, they can be overruled. And I'm tired of the misunderstanding of people not realizing if a majority wants something, they can get it. You
No,
just have
no,
to
they
make sure
can't.
that it's
I
heard.
don't think the majority of Texans want this, but
No,
Governor
the majority
Abbott
of
is
Texans
going to
don't
keep
want it, but
controlling it.
it's okay. So Colorado in general is heavily Democratic around the Denver area.
Hmm.
Okay, I've lived in Colorado Springs. I live in
Sure.
Loveland right now, and I've been in other places of Colorado. I can assure you that the majority of Democratic viewpoints, of majority of Democrats in general that I have met, has been when I lived near Denver.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Everywhere else is very Republican,
sure. Because
and or libertarian.
the further
Actually, is
apart
more
people live, the more they feel like they should be independent. That actually
right.
makes absolutely logical sense. The closer and the tighter we are, the more we feel like we fit the liberal values of working
Yeah,
in a community teamwork sort of thing, where you
yeah,
are willing to compromise your freedoms for the greater good of the people around you. When you live further out, you feel like there aren't that many people around you to help. Therefore, you feel more like the conservative values in our country, which is a little bit more independent. There's nothing wrong with that. The
no,
biggest problem
and
we've
I do
got,
want to
and
point out. I do want to.
this is what the whole argument that has been boiling down to this is that when you talk about, like, say, Weld County, yeah, you're right. There are many more counties in Colorado that are red than there are blue, but
Yeah,
there are more people in the areas that are blue than there are
yeah,
red, and land shouldn't vote.
yeah.
You don't want to vote with land. That's
No,
ridiculous, because then the
and
people who own more land get more power, and that's ridiculous.
And
That doesn't even make
also,
sense.
Colorado, when I first moved here, was a caucus state, and now the caucus is gone.
Yeah, I liked caucusing. That was interesting. I
Mm.
did it one whole
Just
time.
watch out. You don't want to blend the caucuses.
Right, exactly. No, don't touch your caucus, man. As long as you don't touch caucus,
um,
you're fine.
no, but I mean, that's what I mean is like, so like when I first came here, my first caucus, it was interesting. It was good. I felt okay about it. Um, and we had someone there that went as a representative that wasn't necessarily um, Republican or Democrat; they were libertarian. And that's the other factor of Colorado is a lot of people don't realize that the Libertarian Party was mainly based in Colorado for a very long time, and there's a lot of libertarians there too, which kind of divides and kind of splits some of the hairs of both parties.
Yeah.
But the majority of them, they like freedom of choice and they want less government in their lives.
Yeah.
So, like, that's,
They just
I
want
guess,
less people with all their hands in the pie. That's literally what it is.
yeah. I
I mean,
mean,
the thing is that the politics that we keep coming up with sort of boils the left and the right down to not positive traits. So, like, they'll say, "Oh, gee, the left wants X, Y, or Z, and the right wants X, Y, or Z," and they're never really the positive traits. And I try to come up with a logical, reasonable way of presenting both sides, because they do make sense. Both sides make
yeah,
sense,
they do. I
and
mean, I'm not saying
even the
that either side
libertarians.
are bad, though. I'm just
No,
saying
but
that,
even the libertarians, which are a group of people who sound like they're into anarchy, that's the way it's always presented, as, "Oh,
no,
they're anarchists,"
they're
and they're
not
not.
anarchists.
Obviously, they're not.
Okay, let me reiterate. There are some people in the Libertarian Party that
Who are
are
total
straight up,
anarchists,
like
but
are
that's the
total
minority.
anarchists. But at the same time, that's not the majority. That's
No,
like kind of saying
and
that all Democrats are liberal. No, I've met a conservative Democrat.
of course,
So like no, like
because
every party has their
there's
own.
social liberal
Yeah,
and there's the social, and then
yeah.
there's financial. Because
And
I'm
like
actually a financial conservative.
yeah, and I grew up in a Republican household, but they were for human rights. Like,
Right.
like you have to understand, not everyone has like the same.
The
Like, just
same
because you
standard of
put
shit.
like once you put a demonology on a certain specific aspect of something, and this goes back into story building, and this goes back into what we do as storytellers and comic book artists and everything like that. Basically, when you're trying to come up with the politics of everything, and you're trying to do all of that, you kind of have to analyze what's going on around you, and you need to be very hyper aware of how you base your own worlds on. And if you base it off of what you're seeing in real life, then a lot of people go to like more of the extremes. And that's why like a lot of people saw villains in certain political figures so quickly. And they labeled it per the party, not per the person. You know what I mean? So you kind of have that development, and it's kind of shaped on how we've been doing current storylines that are hyper political. Like the Expanse is another big one where I think our internal politics that were going on at the time that was written, like it kind of seemed, yeah, the world would have turned out that way if we allowed it to continue going on and on and on that way. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah.
I know. Like I can totally see that happening because it's very grounded in our current way of doing politics. And then if it continued to doing the same way, the expanse would that's what the political system and the expanse would turn into. That's what we would go where we're at now, where we'd go to. We can totally see it. So I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back onto the storytelling aspect of this, not rant and rave about our internal politics anymore. um, but yeah, I mean, Earth politics.
Earth politics. Not them Pluto politics. Earth
Mm,
politics.
Earth politics.
Avasarala.
Guy, how's your animation doing?
Nah, I just made it go into the ground.
On purpose?
No, I'm
Like a
trying to
tunnel?
illustrate the point of UCLA, which is a thing we teach, and UCLA is uphill with a curb, left, all else right. And my kids never understand it. And it's hard to explain. So I'm making an animation that shows that. Because they always, because your brain logically thinks, well, if it's uphill and left, then somewhere else it has to also be left, right? Right. And so, like, no, there's literally only one situation where you put the wheels to the left in your car. Everything else needs to be right. And the
Oh,
kids are
you're
like,
talking about when you're
oh,
parking?
yep.
Oh, got it.
And so I'm trying to illustrate that with the animation, and I just made the car like go weird. And so, there's that.
I'll be right back.
When you're parking on a hill, I got that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you said that, I was like, oh, what? What's a UCLA? And then when you started explaining, I'm like, oh, I get it now.
It's a goofy acronym, but it works. I really can't.
Right.
I can't knock it. It is exactly. It works really well. It makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mark the keys. So yeah, it's just one of those things that it's like, right? So here we go. We're like, you turn the wheels, then you disappear, because I'll make two versions of this. Thump. Stops up against the curb, right? And so that's why you turn it to the right here. This is to the right. Thump. And that makes some sense.
Sorry, Bill is watching out on the screen over there, so we're trying to. Every single time I open the door, I'm trying to make sure that it doesn't do like the playback.
Oh, the loop.
So.
Remember to be at 0, or else it will make an animation of this. We don't want an animation of this. I actually think the easiest and fastest way to do this is to just run the animation and then record it.
To see what the problem may be for the animation?
Yeah. No, I just to record the animation so that it. I copy the keys. There we go. Oh, that was nice. Look at that. Wee! Wee! Oh, you don't know because you can't see anything. Because I did that for me. It goes, wee! Wee! How to become sick. Okay, there we go.
Oh, wow.
That didn't go like I wanted it to. I only want these keys copied. Why are you doing this? It's because you guys are set for.
Oh, our tree. By the way, I don't know. Guy, do you have any trees starting to have their leaves fall and change?
Yep.
Okay.
There we go. That's what I wanted. Turn the wheel and then thump. Hang on real quick, guys.
So, Colton, how's
Yeah.
how's your drawing going?
It's going. It's pretty much a 6-hour study, and I'm kind of messing with it really more than anything. But it's coming out pretty well for only like 2 hours worth of work. 3 hours, almost 3. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. How's your working thing going?
Well, I mean, I started off by doing like a mock-up
Mm-hmm.
tutorial. I am writing the script right now. I don't know, like, what I'm gonna do with this. Like, I feel like I'm kind of torn. Like, I want to do like I want to make in October. I just want to do a mini comic or like a
Yeah.
zine that's like 9 pages long with a cover. So something like super simple to do. But then like I'm like thinking about it, I'm just like, ugh, this seems so much work.
So daunting.
Okay, I don't know. George knocked something over. So, Bill, to answer your question, the idea is I'm going to render this twice. Once with the dude in the car, and then during this point to this point in the animation, the dude is going to vanish, and all I'm really going to do is re-render the video, except without the dude in the car. And then, so the idea is, then you leave your car, and then what happens? The car has a problem, and then you can get stopped by the curb. So the idea is to show that if you're aimed downhill, which we should probably
having the car roll away from downhill.
Yeah.
Got it.
When you're aimed downhill, you turn your wheels towards the curb. When you're aimed uphill, you turn your wheels away from the curb. But the way to remember it, because it's only uphill that you need to turn your wheels away. So I'm going to render this twice. Once. Oh man, now I borked the camera. Because the camera needs to be level so it looks more like a hill. There we go. So that's the idea. I'll render this twice. So, okay, I'm going to switch this to...
Are you guys done with shows this year, or are you guys going to be doing more? I think there's like, what, 2 small shows left or something like that?
I don't know. No, I'm doing something somewhere.
I'm done with shows for the rest of the year.
Nice.
Unless like someone literally asks me to come and be part of the show and I actually do it.
Understandable. Don't they have like a Halloween comic book day?
I
can't remember.
I didn't think it was as successful as Free Comic Book Day.
It usually isn't.
Yeah.
At least every time I did it, I remember we didn't really do much with it. So.
Well, the other thing is with with the problems that I've always gotten with Free Comic Book Day, and this is just like my main gripe with it is you have people that come to those, and if you table at those, they don't realize that they have to pay for your products while they get free products.
They're coming here for free stuff, and everybody that's sitting there trying to sell stuff usually is not there for that reason.
Yeah, like they're not there for that stuff. They're just not there.
Yeah, they all come for the free comics. That's exactly what they're there for.
Yeah. So, I just...
Mostly the only people I know I ever did real business with during those times were like the collector kind of people. But that's because they actually always have money.
Yeah, it's the collector people, the people who like indie comics is the other one. Since mine and Bill's comic is more kid-oriented, we get a lot of parents that pick it up for their kids.
Right.
That sort of stuff. Like, they kind of are, and like, I hate to say it, but like, those are usually, the parents are also usually either collectors or indie comic people as well.
Yep.
So they're trying to get their kids into doing indie comics and reading that stuff like that, like stuff that's not what they normally see.
Not just your everyday Spider-Man.
Yeah. And, I mean, there's nothing wrong with liking Spider-Man. Nothing wrong with it.
You're just saying.
Just saying. But, like, if all three of us were there, and someone just like came over to my table and they're like, that guy over there, his comic doesn't seem very nice. And I'm just like, have you looked at it?
Probably
You
not.
know, like, have you actually seen it? They're like, and they'd basically be like, no, I just don't like space things. I'm like, so don't diss it, you know? And like, same with Guy. Like, someone could go up to Guy's table and be like, dude, that's a stupid summer camp premise, blah 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 blah, and
It's
be
totally
like,
true, though.
but yours is totally cool because it's in space. You know, like it's hysterical. People like how people swing sometimes at those. It's just like it gets me every single time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, I
Consumers
don't,
are funny.
because I know like when you go in table, you always have like some of the books from Red Team Go on your table.
Used to, yeah.
Yeah,
Used to.
used to.
Apparently they're back.
Huh?
Apparently they're tabling again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah.
I saw them at Colorado Festival Horror.
Which is awesome. Did you visit with him?
Nope.
Nope. I didn't think
I got
so.
some glares though when I walked in the room.
Yay, glares.
Wait, so you're not with them anymore?
No.
Oh no.
Okay. This is news to me because I don't I must have either forgot if you told me or I just basically didn't pay attention enough to make
Yeah.
it memory.
It was pretty much so like 2019. We didn't really do anything, so I just kind of left. And also, we went bankrupt. So I went off and did my own thing. Went to school, and then 2020 happened, and everybody, like, it happened right before everything kind of just went haywire. So,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, there's a lot more to that. I'd have to actually tell you all that more in person.
Yeah, we'll tell it over like lunch
We'll
sometime.
meet up for a lunch or something
air.
to discuss that. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
there's a
better.
lot, and also like I'm like
It's not worth putting it on the on open.
on the internet right now.
No,
Yeah,
I wasn't wanting to pry. I just basically was
Yeah.
like, this is news to me, okay. And then I thought we were moving on.
No, you're good.
So let's move on. Scooby Doo, thoughts.
Scooby-Doo.
So someone put out there, and I'm wondering your guys' take on this, okay? This would be a remake of the original live action with Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Linda Cardellini, and Matthew Lillard, right? They are all of them are still alive, but all of them reprising their roles as Velma, Fred, Daphne, and Shaggy, and then having Scooby Doo as an old man,
Scooby Doo is an old man?
like a Scooby Doo as an older dog, right?
Okay.
And they're still solving crimes out of the mystery machine, but they have children. Someone proposed this online. How would you guys feel if you saw something like that?
I mean, if the Mystery Machine was an RV now, maybe.
I never said the mystery machine wasn't an RV. I mean, you have to admit, 4 teenagers living out of a basically what is like a non-window van looks like an RV already.
Not even just that, but like having kids and all that stuff during that time.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of ethical things that I'm wondering about.
ethical schmethical.
hey, you always gotta like the fan comic where essentially, one fan comic of Scooby Doo,
Really?
they had Velma and Daphne together, and Fred and Shaggy together. And the reason why all 4 of them hung out together was they would go places to hide that they were LGBT.
Hey guy, did you read Wow.
If people are talking to me, I'm recording stuff. So
Oh, okay.
I'm actually recording this screen. So
Bill, there we go. I kept looking. I'm like, why does it say William? That's not what it's supposed to be saying.
scan reel film. Oh, okay.
I was gonna say Bill, and then I literally read William, and I was like, the name's not right. The name's not right in my head.
I want to see that. I'll see that.
Sorry, Bill.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. That's still cool. Well, 20 bucks for what did you say? 20 bucks for 50 feet.
Not a bad deal.
That's not bad.
No, he doesn't think it's bad either.
Good.
So has everyone also seen the new Wiglet?
The what?
The new Pokemon evolution form for Diglett and Wiglet?
I have not. That's what I'm doing.
No freaking clue what that means. But okay. I am so not a Pokemon person, so it's like I don't really know. I got nothing against it. I just
Is it the worm-looking thing?
Yeah.
He turns white and then like comes out of the ground farther. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ah!
Oh my god! I
was
totally
still
forgot
run off
the
the
things
road.
that.
Oh, no God. Blah. You can't stop me.
Drift parking. Nice. I still love like the joke for Diglett is that they're like these buff like guys with these that's just their heads.
Well, and this is the third alternative to Wiglet. I just want to point out. This is the third one.
Alternative?
Yeah, so the Alolan form gave them hair on the top of their heads.
Get it? Oh yeah, the little okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and so the original has no hair. It's just very generic. It looks like a thing. And then this new one, not only is it white, it's like taller than the rest of them too.
Yeah,
When he
he's
comes out of
able
the
to
ground.
like well, he starts off like he can be like a regular Diglett, but he's more of a snake. He kind of bends out like a worm.
Yeah, but they
Because his head's not like on the side of his face; it's like actually on the top of the crown. So now he actually has to like bend.
But they also basically make it so that he's more towards the ocean for this one. So this one like literally is like I think it's a dual spec.
Might
For
be
the
like a
game?
groundwater.
Because like all the official images from in game, they're right by water, dirt in nearby water. So I don't know. I want to see if they have the Diglett released yet either. Diglett is Wiglet's other form.
It's all the starters.
Mm,
Cat, Doug, like crocodile thing.
yeah. Yeah, I remember when they announced the new starters, which they're cute. Don't get me wrong, they're cute. But do we need any more cats and alligators? Like seriously, dude. Do we need
That
those?
was kind of. I was just like when my friends sent them to me, I was like, eh. Also, they look very like bland.
Oh, hey guys, it's 11. Sorry.
Oh shoot!
Okay.
I gotta go to work.
So I gotta go.
I don't want to go to work
because I actually
All right,
have a
bye.
cookie session in like 10 minutes. So I'll talk to y'all later.
Bye.
See you tonight. Bye.